The Facebook Creative Ambassador Program is a really interesting concept where we did a session a few weeks ago actually where all the WPP agencies came together. The couple of days is involved with learning about the new products that Facebook has, but how importantly how we can push those boundaries as well. How can we actually not treat them just as templated products? How can real ideas really come to life through these things? Because so often we sometimes get bogged down with constantly best practices are changing, or mediums are changing, or ad units are changing. But at the end of the day, the one thing that stays constant is an idea. So how to best bring an idea to life through all these channels that Facebook and Instagram provide. Having a workshop like this really puts you into that mindset, because you're talking directly to the people who are running the programs, running these ad units. It also allows us to get to know the right people in terms of how and where we want to push the boundaries. It could be something where even Facebook may not have thought of something, but as creators we always want to be ahead of what the media is even thinking of. This becomes a platform where we can talk about ideas like those, where we can push the boundaries with Facebook, or something maybe they were planning 3 years down the line, but could we push them? Is it possible to do it tomorrow? Because who knows what's going to happen in 3 years from now.
What's really cool that's bubbling up that you're using or you'd like to use, or that use some of the new tools that are coming into focus?
So obviously with Facebook, camera effects has been the big new thing. We've seen a lot of filters and effects and things being used on other platforms as well. They've always been on the light-hearted side. They've always been fun. They've always been things you want to mess around with. What we did, one thing different in partnership with Facebook and some other partners, was we actually created for the United Nations for World Humanitarian Day, we created a Facebook live teleprompter effect. What it was actually bringing to life stories of civilians in conflict. And when you went on Facebook Live and you tapped on your screen, what it did was it started giving you a teleprompter of in first person of a story of whether it was an 18-year-old woman who was offended in any of these conflict areas, or it was a child who lost his school, or an aid worker who had to choose between saving a man who was shot in his head or a pregnant woman who was shot in the stomach and brought to the hospital. At the end of it, you've read this whole story in first person, and it tells you whose story you just read. The important part here was how we used effects and live, so you actually captured people's real reactions as they read their story. But then also when you go live, it notifies all your networks. And then we also used reactions in a really interesting way. We ended up with a lot of sad and angry reactions to those videos, and they weren't sad and angry reactions to the person who was reading it, they were reactions to the stories themselves.
I heard a loud explosion. It was a suicide bomber detonating himself at the back entrance of the hospital. But that was just the beginning. I heard firing in the corridor, and I saw gunmen disguised as doctors shooting everyone they saw. There was blood everywhere. I took cover under a desk, holding my breath, hoping to not become another victim. The attackers killed doctors, patients, and family members visiting loved ones. In all religions, a hospital is regarded as a safe haven. In a gunman's religion, it's a battlefield. This is the story of a doctor in Kabul. Civilians are not a target.